Well, hello everyone. Happy Monday. Well, for some of us, we're waiting on a hurricane, but you know what? That's okay. God is in control, right? You know, they have all these different technology to tell us about how the storm is going to be, but we really don't know. God could do whatever He want to do. So we just need to be prayed up, right? I'm not ready to die. I'm not saying that, but you know, we can't control the weather. But anyway, happy Monday. I want to do something a little bit different. I know when we first started our group, we talked about forgiveness, and we did a lesson with Cecilia, going over her notes and things that she wrote. But you know, I was thinking about it and just thinking about things that's in my life and dealing with people or hearing about other people and the different challenges that they have in their lives. Forgiveness is a big, big topic. It can really wear us down. It can burden our hearts. It depends on what role we play in that. So, you know, tonight I just want to take a few minutes to talk about, the title of this is Don't Stop Forgiving. It could be challenging. It can really, sometimes rip our soul out or really get us on edge. But you know that the underline of all that is Satan. And we want to have the ability to not let him always put us in different situations that's going to challenge our hearts and challenge our decisions that we make. We are in control. You know, we talked a lot about having friends, people that's in our lives. And sometimes when it's hard for you, that's what you need to do. Maybe you need to make a phone call. Maybe you need to get have a prayer partner, or just take time to pray. Remember, God is our bread. He's the only one that's going to solve everything for our lives or have us have that little bit of refreshing that we need. So we're going to talk about don't stop forgiving. And a few of those scriptures, actually, we're going to stay in Matthew and you can go ahead and write this down. I'm going to start off with Matthew 18, chapter 21, Matthew chapter 18, verses 21 through 35. And I want to kind of end in Matthew 5, verses 12 through 18. Okay? So let's get started. So we're going to start off with Matthew chapter 18, verses 21 through 35. It says, Then Peter came to Jesus and asked, Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother or sister who sins against me? Up to 7 times? Jesus answered, I tell you, not 7 times, but 77 times. Therefore, the kingdom of heaven is like a king who wanted to settle accounts with his servants. As he began to set the settlement, a man owed him 10,000 bags of gold. Was brought to him. Since he was not able to pay, the master ordered that he and his wife and his children, all that he had, be sold and repaid his debt. At this, the servant fell to his knees. Be patient with me, he begged, and I will pay back everything. The servant's master took pity on him, canceled his debt, and let him go. But when the servant went out, he found one of his fellow servants who owed him 100 coins. He grabbed him. Pay back what you owe me, he demanded. His fellow servant fell to his knees and begged, Be patient with me. I will pay it back. But he refused. Instead, he went off and had the man thrown into prison until he could repay his debt. When the other servants saw what had happened, they was outraged and went and told their master everything that had happened. Then the master called the servant in. You wicked servant, he said. I cancel all your debt of yours, and you beg me to. Shouldn't you have had mercy on your fellow servant, just as I had on you? In anger, his master had him handed over to the jailer for torment until he should be able to pay back all he owed. This is this is how many Heavenly Father will treat each of us unless we forgive our brothers or our sisters from our hearts. Wow. Can you imagine? Can you imagine Jesus forgiving us and God forgiving us all the sins that we have, but we cannot forgive our brothers and sisters? Just think about that. Just think about that. When we don't want to forgive. I got a few statements and things for us to think about when it's hard for us to forgive, or to be the person that's forgiving, or even the person that needs forgiveness. Okay. And this is something I learned, from listening to at church. Something to think about. Forgiveness is difficult because sometimes we have false notions of what it involves. It could be a lot. It could be your family, spouse, whoever. Sometimes it'd be the closest people to you. Okay. Forgiveness is not letting the offenders off the hook. We can or should still hold others accountable for their actions or lack of actions. Whatever you are doing is okay. Forgiveness does not make bad behavior okay. Verbal abuse isn't giving an okay simply because we forgive the person. It was wrong, and it still is wrong, and it should stop. So it don't mean that because you're forgiving somebody that you're supposed to accept verbal abuse. It's still wrong, okay? Forgiveness is not letting the offense recur over and over again. That's not forgiveness, okay? We don't have to tolerate, nor should we keep ourselves open to it. Lack of respect and any form of abuse. Just because we forgive, it don't mean that we need to be disrespected or be abused. You don't have to put yourself in harm's way if someone is abusing you over and over. An abusive husband that keeps physically beating you or beating his wife, or vice versa. I heard of women beating the men too. So, but that's not a part of when you forgive somebody. It don't mean that you have to be abused or keep being abused over and over again. That's not part of forgiveness or letting yourself be hurt, okay? Forgiveness does not mean we have to be relevant, being a victim. Forgiveness is not saying what you did was okay so that you can go ahead and be walked on over and over. So that's not what we're talking about. When you forgive somebody, they need to be sincere about what's going on. Or maybe you need to let them go or seek counseling about your situation, okay? Forgiveness is not the same as reconciliation. We can forgive someone even if it never gets along, even if you never get it along with them again. So you can forgive them, but it might not mean that you're going to have a lot of communication with them. You maybe never get along with these people again, but you've forgiven them. You done cleansed your heart, okay? Sometimes we need to get to a healthy point where it's cleansing your heart. In your mind and your soul that you forgive, but it don't mean that you're going to let that occur again. You might have to sometimes cut those friendships off. That might be your action, okay? We're not talking about being abused, okay? Reconciliation is preferred, but A person may not want to be reconciled. May be best to just let them go on their own way instead. Okay. Forgiveness is not based on others' actions, but on our attitude. It's our attitude. We should memorize or repeat over and over. Forgiveness is about attitude, not their action. Forgiveness is about our attitude, not their action. Forgiveness is about our attitude, not their action. Okay? If they don't repent, we still have to forgive. Just think about that. If they don't repent, we still have to forgive. Ain't that something? But you know what? It's going to give you the clean heart. You're going to feel better, regardless of what they're doing. Hopefully they're not those type of people that keep stuff going. But we need to forgive because we want to be cleared up with God. That's the main point that I'm trying to get across. Even if they never ask, we need to forgive. Okay? Because you might already have let them go, but you forgave them. It's not killing your heart and your pride. We don't always have to tell them we have forgiven them. Self-righteously announcing our graciousness, our gracious forgiveness to someone who is not asking for forgiveness, but to be forgiven, may manipulate our feelings of guilt. It also is a form of pride. Okay? Without holding forgiveness or refusal to let go precede power. We can feel powerful when the offender is in need of forgiveness, and we only want to forgive it, to be able to forgive. Okay, so basically, sometimes people hold on to not forgiving people, and it's like a form of power where you already know you're in sin with that. So we don't really need to even go there, because the whole point is we want to be studying to get closer to God. So we know that a person is really sorry and they just begging for that forgiveness because they keep bringing it up, or they trying to talk to you about it, and you just got that nonchalant, look or walk about yourself. Those people want to be forgiven. So if you're in that boat, then you need to pray anyway, right? Because you're trying to hold that power over that person. And I'm gonna tell you right now. Okay, so that's a good example. You trying to, let's say, between a husband and a wife. You both don't agree on something, and it's okay that you're not always gonna agree. But if it's a lot of hurt in that conversation, and both parties not coming together to forgive each other, it's a heartache. It's something that sits on your chest, and both sides want to be right. And in maybe examples, both sides is right, because they're just not seeing eye to eye. You need to be able to agree to not to agree, and be able to go on and have that forgiveness, and start over fresh. You might not be able to start over fresh right that second, but you have a plan that you don't want to stay in that boat. And so when one spouse goes and they constantly try to apologize or to be accepted, and that person, the other spouse, either they could be still mad, or maybe they could be they don't want to forgive, right? You still have to take it upon yourself to do your part. But as a human, it's got to be probably still a little bit of hurt or feelings there, because you still want to be accepted. You want to know that your apology or what it is that you're offering has been forgiven. But sometimes you have to get to the point where God has to be enough, that you need to get on your knees and pray, because you know that Satan is taking over in those areas. Okay, that's the best scenario I can think of right now. Okay. Because we don't want to be those people that's holding power over people. Then we know that we're in sin, right? Okay. We may fear going back to being powerless if we forgive. So sometimes if we are insecure and we feel like we got to hold over people, which still is wrong, sometimes people feel like when you forgive, or they forgiven people, we lose that power. Like, If they're coming to you and they're asking for forgiveness and you hold, it's like you got that little bit of hold over them and you got power. Wrong answer. Give up the power, right? And then have the joy and the good feeling from God that if you die right that second, you were where you need to be. Hold on a little bit of evilness and where you gonna go? We know, right? Okay. All right. So forgiveness does not mean forgetting. It's normal to have memories that triggered in the future. When thoughts of the past hurts, it's what we do with them that counts. Okay, so depends on what's going on in your life and what's happened. Every now and then you might have little triggers that bring over the past hurts. Now, some people, when they forgive, they maybe still hold on to things, so it's hard for them. I know now for me, I'm so thankful I have a lot of people in my life that have to go through all these things, but I'm a person that I compartmentalize things, and I'm more of, I like having a healthy heart. I don't like pain on my chest. I don't like things bothering me. So if I forgive something, it's out the door. And probably 9 by 10 because I'm so like, whatever I'm thinking on my mind on the next thing. Sometimes you ask me what happened in the past, I sometimes really have to think about it. Like, I really don't, okay, so I forgot that happened. And I think part of me, I have like this mechanism that's in me that don't want to be hurt. So I put up probably this shield and I just forget until a new thing happens. Then it'd be like, oh, okay. Because I ain't trying to hold on things in my mind and in my heart. Forget it. I ain't trying to do all that. It's too much to take on the new things in life than to hold on the past. That's just who I am. I was built like that. I wonder if my mama maybe gave it to me. I don't know. But anyway, forgiveness, it don't mean that you can always forget. So everybody's different. We're all different, but we need to get to that point where we don't let it happen. Maybe you can think of someone that you need to forgive right now. Now, this is something my leader said too. Act on it. Don't let it continue to drag you down. So he was talking about, my leader one time was talking about, think about somebody that you might need to forgive. And I remember in our first forgiveness lesson that I've done, we talked a little bit about forgiving people, not letting things be on your heart because really it's going to drag you down. Sometimes those people don't even be thinking nothing about it, but it's in your mind. Maybe you don't have anything to forgive, and sometimes you like most of us, you fairly frequently don't have to worry about all this stuff. Let it go. Just let God deal with those sins. Don't hold on to things. Just let it go. Because it's up to them to do their part. You do your part, right? Just do your part. And what was that thing that we showed? We were supposed to, we need to just meditate. Sometimes we just need to meditate and just hold on to things, just our part to make ourselves healthy. And just figure out how to forgive. And like we said, it don't mean we're going to let people abuse us. That's not what we talk about. Okay, so let's kind of end this in a little bit of conclusion so that we know that it is a light at the end of that tunnel. So we want to go to Matthew 5:12-18. Okay, Matthew chapter 12, excuse me, I'm going to talk crazy. Matthew chapter 5:12-18. It says, rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled under the foot. You are the light of the world, a town built on a hill not to be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stands, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. Be who you are. Know the person that God has built you to be and that you are striving to be. You know, those scriptures that says, watch your life and your doctrine. You might save yourself and your hearers. You never know who's watching. Be who God made you to be. People hurt people all the time. I don't know why, but they're going to have to figure that out if they're not able to talk to them. But you take care of the things on your end. You know, you pray about how to forgive. You know, when we need forgiveness, when we need forgiveness, it makes a deep root in our heart. I'm not saying you're not going to have feelings. You might. And, especially if depending on who the person is, how close that person is to you. It might give you that deep root in our heart. It's something that's sitting on your chest that sometimes you just can't shake it, okay? Especially if you're really sorry and you have forgave, and the other person hasn't forgiven you. So at this point, you need to just pray and let God fill that hole. The other person may never forgive. You have to be resolved in your mind that you're doing the right thing, because that person maybe not be on that level with you. They maybe don't want to be on that level with you. And, you guys know how I'm really not into the news, but really the time that I've been seeing, it's some crazy people. I shouldn't say crazy. Evil people out there that just don't want to do right. They just don't want to. So you got to be a person that think about what God has called you to do and how important it is for you to serve God. And, and just stick with that. If the person don't want to forgive and it's hurting your heart, and you have forgiven and you have also apologized, if you need to be that person, depending on what's going on, pray and pray and pray. If you need to call somebody that's in your life, call them. Talk it over with them, because a lot of times it's on our heart because it's still rolling around in our mind, the situation over and over again, and we haven't been able to release it. And even though we're praying to God and He's supposed to be our everything, sometimes we need to verbally get it out of our minds. So call a person, express it to them what's going on. Express it to them your heartfelt sorriness, and let them talk to you and ease your heart, and then pray some more. And then eventually, you know what? I guarantee it will be gone, because God do not want His children hurt. So that's all I'm going to say for this evening. Oh, look at it. Oh, show y'all this. Ain't that cute, guys? My daddy gave it to me for my birthday. But anyway, that's off the subject. I just seen it and I'm like, oh, that's cute. But anyway, I want you guys to have a blessed day. And thank you for joining me on Asister's Trust. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and invite other people to join in with us as we learn each week. Also, we got some exciting things going on. My friend Yoli or Yolanda Lyles, she's going to come and give us a day of shopping. She'd like to buy all these purses. And so we're going to do a segment with shopping with Yoli. Also, a young lady that I've known her since she was small and going to church and everything. She's an exercise expert. And we're going to do a little bit of exercising, because even though we're training our mind, we need to keep our bodies in tune. And then also one day I'm going to do something with a new company. I've been doing a hair product company called Monate. And I'm going to help us with some different hair ideas. So we got other things when just studying the Bible, which is the most important. But, we got to keep up with the times and what's going on in society, keeping our bodies and keeping ourselves fit also in other ways. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. So I love you guys. And oh, the scriptures were again, it was Matthew chapter 18, verses 21 through 35, and Matthew chapter 5, verses 12 through 18. And so I want you to, even though sometimes we might start with the problem, but I want you to know it's always an ending with something special and how God's going to take care of us. Okay? You guys have a great day and pray for us here in Florida for our hurricane that's supposed to be coming. All right? Love you all. Until next time.